authorized by Alberta Accountability Alliance. abpolica@gmail.com.
How's it going? It is Thursday. Welcome to the AB Alliance update. I'm Darrin Thompson, aka ADC. As always, smash that notification bell, like and subscribe on all our channels. Follow us at AB_Poly on X. Join the Alliance, aballiance.ca, everything Alliance, sleekbio.com/abpoly, and shop the official merchandise and apparel of the AB Alliance at abpoly.ca. So a very interesting time since the last time we chatted. And tonight we're talking truth on Royal Assent. What it is, how it's used, and why the lieutenant, aka lieutenant governor in Alberta, has to be accountable to prevent full-fledged fascism in the province and Canada. So first off, what is the Royal Assent? Well, the Royal Assent is the Heritage Services Crown Canada Lieutenant Governor, and we will just share our screen here so you can take a look at what we're talking about. So each of the 10 Canadian provinces has a lieutenant governor. He or she is appointed by the Governor General on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, usually for a period of 5 years. Lieutenant governors are the highest ranking officers of their province, represent His Majesty the King in their jurisdictions. Lieutenant governors' constitutional duties include, among others, swearing in the provincial government's executive council, opening each session of the provincial legislative assembly, and providing royal assent to provincial bills. You got your ceremonial stuff as well. So when we're looking at that sort of aspect, what we're going to look at is the evolution of the Lieutenant Governor program, which they're looking at. It was 2012 to 2013, 2016, 2017, looking at some of the things that they wanted to implement. Conducting in accordance with the Financial Administration Act, all these sort of things. Links are in the show description, so you can take a look at that stuff at your leisure. So it is the lieutenant governor's job to uphold the Constitution Act, especially the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And that's where we come into this conversation with the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and what the Lieutenant Governor of Alberta is doing, or right now not doing, to protect those Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And we're not talking about the aspect of the freedom fighters. We're talking about the rights and freedoms for all Albertans. So if you wondering where we disappeared, we'll just go straight up, and we've always been transparent about this. We were a part of the Enough is Enough UCP initial movement. We were directed out of that movement because of the fact that our transparency of being 100% nonpartisan was affected. And there are groups currently that are recruiting in the province of Alberta under the guise of being grassroots and nonpartisan. And those members, the executive members, the directors, the leaders of those groups are part of the reason why we had to leave the Enough is Enough movement and ensure that there's a separation from the allies of the AB Alliance and the Alberta Accountability Alliance, and shift to the allies of the AB Alliance. So we have no problem partnering with the Enough is Enough UCP. We have no problem partnering with the AB Resistance. But those organizations have to know that anything that is being led by the Alliance, funds raised by the Alliance, cannot in any way be connected to an existing political party, aka the NDP. So disagreements there, but just so you're aware, if you are interested in becoming a ally of the Alliance, go to aballiance.ca. All the information's there. We have our limited amount of core members of the executive right now, and we're looking to add more and more throughout because we need to do things now. We can't wait for a recall. We can't wait for all the other things that other people are promising you. We technically can't wait for politicians. So that's why today we're talking about the Royal Assent. And we get back to that Royal Assent piece. So we came across a really valuable website that was How Does a Bill Become a Law? And it is a Weebly website, and very good setup for what would be good for younger viewers. And so we'll just go through it. Laws in Alberta are voted on by MLAs. When a law is first proposed, it's called a bill and is introduced in the legislature for debate. There's several steps involved before a bill becomes a law. Before a government bill is introduced, the government caucus discusses the idea. MLAs then talk with interested citizens and groups to find out how they would feel about such a bill. Well, that is what we're supposed to do in a parliamentary governmental system. But we guarantee that is not what the United Conservative Party is doing currently in Alberta. And we're going to go through why this is such a dangerous act. I mean, you can understand it's a dangerous act. We'll share some of the updates of what's going on there, some receipts there, and then our call to action of what we want people, our allies of the Alliance, to start to do. So going forward in the aspects, so step 1, the first reading, step 2, the second reading, step 3, the committee of the whole. So bill passes second reading, members of the assembly then meet as a committee of the whole. Now, if you go into any of the AB Ledge camera sessions, you can see clearly that the committee of the whole is usually not a very useful aspect. From disingenuous presentation by the current government, the UCP, to just ignoring the opposition NDP, ignoring public outcry, ignoring any sort of opposition, and knowing that they have the majority, which means they don't need any of the minority votes from the opposition to pass any bill. So clearly, it is a leadership by current Premier Danielle Smith and the UCP caucus that just push through whatever they really want to do. So that's where we sit in regards to the parliamentary and legislative process. It's that law piece that we really get concerned with. So you've got your third reading after the committee of the whole, and that's when the sponsor of the bill summarizes its benefits. Opposition parties state why they agree or disagree with the bill. Final vote is taken once the debate is finished. And again, in that third reading, in the last legislature session, the UCP was absolutely unprofessional in their actions, and knowing that they had all the votes to push any bill that was presented in favor of them. So step 5, and this is the important one, and I don't think enough of my fellow Albertans or our fellow Albertans or Canadians in general understand this aspect. When a bill has passed a third reading, it must receive Royal Assent before it becomes a law. This is a formal approval by the monarch's representative, the Lieutenant Governor. Some bills do not come into effect immediately, but do so at a later date. Okay, so there's your Royal Assent and what constitutes that. So no bill can become law until it receives Royal Assent. Okay, no problem. That makes perfect sense and under the parliamentary system. Now, with that Royal Assent piece, that's where we start to show concern. So our current Lieutenant Governor is Her Honor Salma Lakhani. And we will show some of Her Honor's work done throughout the year, show some of her social media content that was shared, and then the latest actions by Her Honor while the legislature is not in session. So the update from the Lieutenant Governor of Alberta is the message from there. You can find it right on their website, and you can go right to that aspect of right into the news, and the update is right at the top of the news. And so if we look at the update that we have here on the screen, it starts off with a message from the Lieutenant Governor Lakhani. Celebrates 100 years of the Royal Canadian Air Force. They emphasize education and participates in school legislature program, virtual legislature program, fulfills the constitutional duties. So the vice-regal representatives play an important role in maintaining Canada's constitutional traditions. So Honor continues to grant Royal Assent to bills brought forward by the Legislative Assembly and signs orders in Council. We'll get to those shortly. In spring and summer, Lieutenant Governor awarded ceremonies hosted by Speaker Cooper, Rwandan Genocide Commemoration, Black Ribbon Day, a citizenship ceremony on Canada Day, highlighted the summer welcoming new Canadians as they take their oath. Honors also participated in Alberta Girls Parliament, the Legislature Page Development Program, and encouraging the youth of today. So they did some work in honoring Indigenous peoples, which we 100% support. We support engaging in the community, all these different things. This is fantastic work by Her Honor, fostering international friendship. So meeting ambassadors from Turkey, Saudi Arabia, India, the Consul General of the Philippines, President of the Republic of Poland, and the heads of mission in May. So all this stuff, what we believe is right, what others believe in right, that's not what we're looking at today. What we're looking at is the fact that Their Honor is doing some good work in regards to being out in the community and supporting organizations and things of that nature. So if you look at, like I said, honoring Indigenous peoples, and then fostering the friendship, and then there's some photos of Her Honor at events, including the Calgary Stampede, the Edmonton Football Club event, and so forth. So we wanted to share Her Honor's Twitter page because, unlike her predecessor, who didn't do very much social media or didn't have any sort of connection to the public in social media, Her Honor Lakhani is doing some good things in regards of presenting themselves, sharing information, and those sorts of things, which again is a positive thing, like honoring the Treaty 6 Recognition Day, going through commemorating the victims of acts of violence based on religion or belief. D-Day, of course, celebrating the monarchy and those sorts of things. Even going back to during the playoffs where they were in Oiler jerseys during the Oilers playoff run, Stanley Cup run, and so forth. So you're seeing a lot of things on when you go to their page, and we're just going to share the page here because just to give you a little bit of insight of what we're looking at here. So there's Her Honor's page. There's the Governor General going, "Let's go Oilers." And like we said, if we page down, support of the Oilers, run for the playoffs, run for this Stanley Cup, had Governor General Simon there in Oiler jerseys, pomp and circumstance with some Alberta pride and that sort of thing. Again, we do not disagree with Her Honor's work in the province. They're doing things in the community. Now, where it gets very tricky is when we look at what Her Honor, when she says that they are doing the work on ensuring their governmental responsibilities, that's when we start to get concerned. So the latest release from the province of Alberta, orders in council. And again, we'll share the link here on the screen. And so Honorable Mr. Amory, the Court of Justice Act designates Justice Eric John Tolpanen as Assistant Chief Justice of the Calgary Criminal Division. Effective September 30th, designates Justice Eric Dean Brooks as Assistant Chief Justice of the Southern Region of the Alberta Court of Justice. Okay, lots of Justice Acts going through. Honorable Mr. Ellis appoints Brendan Miller as a member of the Law Enforcement Review Board for a term to expire August 27th, 2027. So we're looking at this sort of aspect. You can see the signatures on the document. So there's the Eric Brooks. And let's get through here. So here's the Eric Brooks one. And others are in there. And we are looking at the Brendan Miller. Well, folks, if that name sounds familiar, it's because it is. Brendan Miller is better known as the defense lawyer for the Freedom Convoy. So you see all these things signed by Danielle Smith, and then Her Honor signs them with Lacani at the top, Order in Council. So you can find all these documents right on the Order in Council and the King's Printers website, and see exactly what we're looking at. So if we look at the Police Act, and that's what we were going through. And we go right there. Appoints Brendan Miller as a member of the Law Enforcement Review Board for a term to expire August 27th. Now, why is this so important? Because the Law Enforcement Review Board is your provincial police. That's going to be instituted by Premier Daniel Smith, and we call it will be shortly before the first session of the new term of the legislature, and sure as heck before the UCP leadership review taking place in November at the Red Deer Casino and Resort in Red Deer, formerly the Sheridan Inn. So that's why this is so important. And like we said, when we're talking about the individual who was the Freedom Convoy, well, there's some really interesting video of this individual and their actions during that entire day of many days, the entire trial of the Freedom Convoy. And can't get that, so we're just going to go right to the TikTok here and share this video with you, a montage of this individual who is now the head of the provincial police under Danielle Smith.
In public administration and governance generally and deciding, are you familiar with the OODA loop?
Sorry, can you say that again?
The OODA loop process, are you familiar with it?
And that point relates to what?
The essentially vaccine mandates and, as I understand it from reading it, the essentially administrative process now put in place by the federal government in trying to cross the border.
My general impression of vaccine mandates is vaccinations protect the elderly.
You have no reason to say that this email is not correct.
When you say the email, this is an email I've never seen, and I've only read a quarter of it, so I have a hard time coming up with a proper judgment of this email.
Okay, so you haven't seen this email before? Today?
No.
Okay.
But it's to a number of people. Like, I'm not on the chain,
In a
right?
field of a driver's fast card to indicate vaccination status are a couple of suggestions. Was that addition to a fast card, was it ever implemented?
So this would be a question that you would need to put to CBSA because it has to do with the details of the operations of a border point, which is their responsibility.
Okay. And if we can scroll down that evidence, can you agree with me that most of it was hypothetical and that you haven't done an ex post facto analysis?
It wasn't hypothetical because the blockade was an actual thing.
Well, I understand that, but
And the concerns, the impact was an actual impact, and the distress and the adverse sort of impact on assessing Canada as a place to invest in sort of auto production was an actual impact. So they were actual impacts, not hypothetical ones.
right, but you can agree the block border crossings appear to have little impact on the aggregated values of Canadian imports and exports in February. Do you agree with that statement?
I think to provide the best possible answer, if you permit me, I'll defer to the Chief Economist of Transport Canada, who is familiar with Statistics Canada's reporting more so than I am.
Could you repeat your question, please?
The statement I just gave from Statistics Canada, do you agree with
This
it?
document?
April of 2022.
Well, there's a point. So, our estimate was done in early February with the information that we had at that time.
Okay.
And as I was mentioning this morning, we were monitoring the situation on a daily basis.
Okay.
This is not an economic impact assessment.
Thank you
This
very
is
much.
just a review
Understood.
of the monthly trade data pattern.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, so that is the new head of our provincial police force, showing brilliance when dealing with the Freedom Convoy and such. Again, signed off by Her Honor McCanny. So when we're looking at things, and you can just go, and we're just going to pop this up. We're going to add this to the notes afterwards, but I'm just going to pop it up into the live chat, and you can go to the link itself. And so if you go to this link, it is the King's Printer ministerial orders. And so they have the ones that were there that weren't done during session or whatever. But it's very interesting that a lot of the stuff that's coming out in the last few days has got ministerial orders signed off on it in June, in July, Crown Right of Recovery, pilot projects, all these sort of things that are like basically changing rules, changing laws. Is that the going through the sort of aspect of what's going on? Why are we sitting here? Why are there politicians doing all this work behind the scenes? Why is this not transparent? Of course, we know it's not why it's not transparent, because the UCP have never been transparent. These are the guys who allegedly used burner phones and apps to be able to communicate when they knew that there would be FOIP requests put in for email actions. And camera just went off. Oh, must be one of those fun things here. Good thing that we're audio's still live, but the camera is out. So figure that one out. But we'll just go with the audio for now. It's just popping up, camera on, camera off. Now let's see. Oh, hold on. We've got
The following message has been authorized by Alberta Accountability Alliance. abpolica@gmail.com.